There was a city, designed down to the meter, that almost completely disappeared. Not erased, not destroyed, just gone. In the year 762, a new capital was built from scratch, not expanded, not inherited. Built. It had a name, Madīnat as-Salām, the city of peace. Today we call it Baghdad. And according to historical descriptions, this city wasn't laid out like most cities. It was a circle, a perfect one, measured, planned, centered. And that's where the problem begins. Because if a city was designed this deliberately, this symbolically, this precisely, why doesn't that circle exist anymore? Not as a ruin, not as a foundation, not even as a trace in the ground. So tonight we're not asking, did the round city exist? We're asking something more uncomfortable. If it was real, why does it survive almost entirely on paper? Let's start with what isn't disputed. In 762 CE, Caliph al-Mansur ordered the construction of a new capital. This was the Abbasid dynasty, a regime that wanted control, stability, and legitimacy. And instead of adapting an old city, they designed one from the ground up. This wasn't urban growth, this was urban intent. And intent leaves records. According to multiple historical descriptions, the city had a circular plan, roughly 2 kilometers in diameter, 4 main gates aligned to major regions and roads. At the center, not a marketplace, not housing, but power. The Caliph's palace and the main mosque. Above them, a central dome reported to rise nearly 50 meters high. For its time, that was monumental. This level of detail matters, because legends don't usually come with measurements. And when you first hear this, it's tempting to imagine the city exactly as it's drawn today. Perfect circles, clean symmetry, almost too beautiful to be real. But here's something we rarely stop to ask. Are we remembering the city or the illustration? Because illustrations are confident, the ground is not. Here's the part most summaries gloss over. Despite all those descriptions, there is no surviving archaeological trace of the circular city itself. No continuous ring wall, no circular foundation, no central layout preserved in stone. That doesn't mean the city never existed, but it does mean something important. Everything we know about its shape comes from texts, and texts are not neutral. Let's be clear, the absence of evidence is not evidence of absence. Cities disappear all the time. But when a city is remembered primarily through descriptions written generations later, we owe it some caution, not suspicion. Caution. Because memory has a habit of becoming architecture. So what could explain the disappearance? First, materials. Much of the region's architecture relied on brick and earth. Without constant maintenance, structures don't collapse, they dissolve. Second, urban expansion. Baghdad didn't stay inside a circle. It grew along trade routes, rivers, and markets. The center became old, then obsolete, then buried, and third, historical rupture. In 1258, Baghdad was invaded. The administrative and cultural continuity broke. Not everything was destroyed, but the system that preserved it was. And sometimes that's all it takes. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Many of the most vivid descriptions of the round city were written after its peak, at a time when the present was unstable. And when the present is unstable, the past often becomes polished, more perfect, more symbolic, more circular. The round city may no longer exist as a physical circle, but it survives in something else. In planning logic, in political memory, in the space between record and ruin. And that space, that gap between what was written and what remains, is where old traces begins. If you're interested in history not as a story we inherited, but as something we can still examine, welcome.